Did you know that the Sea of Galilee is the most famous body of water in the world? Did you know that Jesus spent around 60 to 70% of his ministry time around the Sea of Galilee? Do you know that the most important travel route, called the Via Maris, passed right by Capernaum, which was Jesus' home ministry base while on earth? The northern shore of the Sea of Galilee was even more traveled than the roads and routes leading through Jerusalem. Oftentimes, we might think Jesus was hiding out somewhere in a remote location. However, just the opposite was true. He chose the northern shore of the Sea of Galilee as the center stage, so his message would reach as many people as possible around the world. In this video, we're going to see every important site around the Sea of Galilee, so climb aboard as we explore its many famous and hidden gems. First time we came here to the Sea of Galilee and we took a boat ride, remember my wife was in tears, and a good friend was choked up. Now the Sea of Galilee is extremely special, so join us as we walk in the footsteps of Jesus and see all the places where he taught, healed, walked, and ministered. The Sea of Galilee is about 70 miles or 115 kilometers north of Jerusalem and about 27 miles or 45 kilometers east of the Mediterranean Sea. It's located about 700 feet or 213 meters below sea level. It's a freshwater lake about 8 miles or 13 kilometers wide by about 12 miles or 19 kilometers long and 150 feet or 46 meters deep. By spending most of his ministry time in the northern area of the Sea of Galilee, Christ's miracles would travel by word of mouth to the ends of the earth. This laid the groundwork and sowed the seeds of the gospel to the rest of the known world, so the evangelization work done later by the apostles would be easier and more acceptable to those who heard the message about Jesus. Matthew 4:13 through 17 speaks of God's amazing plan for the area around the Sea of Galilee. It says, "And leaving Nazareth, he came and dwelt in Capernaum, which is by the sea, in the regions of Zebulun and Naphtali, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by Isaiah the prophet, saying, The land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali, by the way of the sea, beyond the Jordan, Galilee of the Gentiles. The people who sat in darkness have seen a great light. And upon those who sat in the region and shadow of death, light has dawned." Mount Arbel is located on the west side of the Sea of Galilee and is the tallest mountain around the sea. It has a spectacular view of the Sea of Galilee and rises about 1,200 feet or 365 meters above the Sea of Galilee. This cliff has many natural caves that have been used throughout history for battles and protection purposes. Well, here we are on top of Mount Arbel or Mount Arbel. Unbelievable. This is one of my favorite places to come to on the Sea of Galilee. This is the believed place where Christ gave the Great Commission. Go into all of the world. He said, all power and all authority has been given unto me. Therefore, go and make disciples. So we look over here, you can see everything so clearly. We've chosen this day. It's a real clear day.
Man, it is unbelievable to think that Christ was here. It says they went to the mountain on the Sea of Galilee, by the Sea of Galilee. This is the tallest mountain around the Sea of Galilee. It is the obvious, natural place where Christ would give the Great Commission. So it was a mountain, and that's where Christ gave the Great Commission. And mountains played a significant role all throughout Scripture. You have Mount Sinai, you have Jesus going up to pray on mountains, you have Moses that goes on Mount Nebo to die, you have the Sermon on the Mount of Beatitudes. So mountains were very, very special. You have Christ's transfiguration on a mountain. So here we are. It's an absolutely stunningly beautiful day. It's really clear, no wind. And so just to think of all that happened around this lake, it's a fresh body of water, no salt in it. It's nice, clean water. Wow, this is really, really special to think of all that happened up here. And to think that all that you can see, Christ spent about 60 to 70% of his ministry time around the northern part of the Sea of Galilee. So right below me is Magdala. Then you just kind of walk around and you have Tabgha, you have Capernaum, you have Chorazin, you have Bethsaida, you have Cursey on the other side. Absolutely breathtakingly beautiful. I can see the Mount of Beatitudes from here. See where Christ called his disciples. See Capernaum, Jesus' ministry, home ministry base. See right out here in the middle is where he would have calmed the sea, calmed the storm, walked on the water. See where the pigs would have ran down the hill after he cast out the legion of demons from the one man possessed by a legion of demons, it says, which was about 5,000. So anyway, we wanted to let you see this. This is so, so beautiful.
Magdala, also known as Migdal, is located on the northwestern shore of the Sea of Galilee. It was located on the Via Maris, which was the international highway linking Africa with Asia and Europe.
Well, welcome to the Holy Land and this biblical site of Magdala. It's one of my favorite sites. The reason is because Mary Magdalene was from Magdala. I have grown to admire and treasure Mary. Jesus did a special work in her heart and her life. She had 7 demons, and Christ cast those demons out, and Mary became an absolute passionate follower of Christ. I think Mary embodies what it means to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Well, welcome to the Holy Land and this biblical site of Magdala. We're shooting this right on the beautiful Sea of Galilee. Magdala was a port city, a small port village on the Sea of Galilee. It was a fishing village community, and it had some amazing things here, one of which is a synagogue that is well preserved, of which Christ would have preached in. So there's some special things to see here. There used to be a port going out here, kind of a docking area. They would bring fish in, process the fish, sell it. So it was a fish market as well. Well, welcome to the Holy Land and this biblical site of Gennesar or Gennesaret. This is the place where after Jesus fed the 5,000 and then came across the sea and calmed the storm, this is where they arrived. Also, there have been some amazing discoveries found here, one of which was an ancient boat from the time of Jesus. Also, you can see here where the boats dock and undock. This is where people who come to Israel sail on to go out onto the Sea of Galilee. They do a boat ride on the Sea of Galilee. In fact, the trips that we lead we do this. We go out and we do a devotion, a beautiful time out on the Sea of Galilee on these boats. Well, here we are in Israel. This is the first boat that we went on when we first came over. And this is Daniel Carmel. He's the owner. So anyway, this boat here we were on, and my wife was in tears. And there was the song that you were praying. Was it Breathe or something? Yeah. Okay. So we're going to be coming back over. So this is the owner and the boat that we'll be on. There you go. Oh, there you go. Thank you. All right. Well, welcome to the Holy Land and this biblical site of Tel Chinnereth or Kinneret. Now, the Sea of Galilee is also called the Sea of Chinnereth or Kinneret, so this Tel overlooked the Sea of Galilee. Now, right in my background, you can see the Sermon on the Mount, or the Mountain of Beatitudes. That's where Christ preached, the Sermon on the Mount. Just down below is the Church of the Primacy of Peter. That's the place where Peter was likely restored to Christ, and probably the place where he called some of the disciples and Peter as well. So anyway, here we are on top of this Tel. It's one of the hidden gems of the Sea of Galilee. Very little people visit it, but we wanted to show you this Tel and this hidden gem of the Sea of Galilee. Well, welcome to the Holy Land and this site of Tabgha. Right in this area here is the most likely place that Jesus called his disciples. There were 7 springs here. The fishing was absolutely phenomenal here, so it was a natural place for the fishermen to gather. And of course, then just close by were some sandy beaches for mending their nets. Now, this place commemorates where Jesus fed the 5,000. However, humbly said, our research indicates that it wasn't here. It's a great place to commemorate and think about it, but the actual location is on the other side of the Sea of Galilee, just south of Bethsaida, because Scripture is really clear that Jesus and his disciples were going to Bethsaida, to a desolate place. So we believe that the feeding of the 5,000 took place over there. However, we want to give you a tour of this site and show you all of the things. It has some amazing special things here. So join us as we go and do a tour of this precious site. This is the believed place where then Christ prepared the food for the disciples and restored Peter back to ministry. Well, here we are at this very unique and special spot. It's another hidden gem around the Sea of Galilee. No one hardly visits it, but we wanted to show it to you. This is a monumental stone that overlooks the Sea of Galilee. The Sermon on the Mount, or the Mount of Beatitudes, is just right up behind you. Of course, you can see the beautiful Sea of Galilee. Right below is the restoration of where Peter took place, the Church of the Primacy of Peter, the believed place where Peter was restored, and we believe that as well. It was right here. There's 7 springs that come down right here. Then down below there's Job's spring that we're going to be showing you as well. But it's right here that this stone was erected, a monumental stone. It has written on it a verse out of Matthew chapter 5. Really quite unique here, this stone. You can kind of see the writings. I'm not going to touch it, but you can just see a carving of a cross here. And it looks like this is Greek down here. And then some of this up here looks to be Latin. That would be Latin here. Then it has, to me it looks like it says MT 28, Matthew 28, 16 through 28. Of course, what would that be? That would be the Great Commission. That would be the Great Commission verse. Go into all the world and preach the gospel. This is interesting. Hidden away here, I just saw it. Look at this. Ooh, wow. So this looks like it's a little bit later, but it has Jesus written on it here. In Montham. So that looks to be an Italian, no, that's Latin. That would be Latin here. And it says Jesus on the Mount of Prayer. Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. This is really interesting. Okay, so this has got some, these are later writings here. This is interesting. Yeah, this is interesting. Well, we got a group that showed up here. The Mount of Beatitudes is located on a hill overlooking the northern shore of the Sea of Galilee. Well, welcome to the Holy Land and this biblical site of the Mount of Beatitudes. This is the place where Jesus preached the Sermon on the Mount. It's the most likely place. He went up on a hill. This is the hill right on the northern shore of the Sea of Galilee, just a little bit west of Capernaum, where his home missionary base was established, where he probably lived with Peter and his family. It's just unbelievable to be here and to be thinking about what happened here. It says that the multitudes followed Christ. He fed 5,000 on one occasion, 4,000 on another occasion, not counting the women and children. He had multitudes probably of 15 to 20,000 people that followed him. And the Sermon on the Mount is the longest sermon that Christ preached. Some have likened the Sermon on the Mount to the New Testament equivalent of the law being given on Mount Sinai. However, in the Sermon on the Mount, Christ deals with the heart. Of course, he dealt with the heart also in the Old Testament, but in the Sermon on the Mount, he says, "You've heard it said, but I say to you. You've heard it said, but I say to you." Then he ends the sermon with an illustration of building your house on the sand or upon the rock. And of course, building your house represents our lives. So do we build our lives upon God's Word? And he says, not just those who hear, but those who do. And that's the difference. A lot of people hear, a lot of people know, but the question is, do we really live out Scripture? Do we really honor it? Do we really put it first? And are we willing to sacrifice, regardless of the cost, to obey it? So the Sermon on the Mount here, the Mount of Beatitudes, is absolutely breathtakingly beautiful here. And just a time of reflection as we look out over the beautiful Sea of Galilee and just really ponder the Sermon on the Mount. We have right behind me here this relatively new church that was built. However, it has history to it. There's also a lot of places outside where you can just sit and meditate. And so just really enjoy this special time as we're on one of the most holy places that exist.
Sower's Cove is located between Capernaum and Tabgha on the northern shore of the Sea of Galilee. It's a natural cove with outstanding acoustics. When Christ preached the parables of the kingdom, he went out of his house in Capernaum and sat by the sea. Tradition and the natural location of Sower's Cove make it an excellent candidate for the place where Christ preached the parables of the kingdom as found in Matthew 13. Chorazin, or Chorazim, is located about 2 miles or 3 kilometers north of the Sea of Galilee.
Well, welcome to the Holy Land and this biblical site of Chorazin. Chorazin was one of the 3 towns that Jesus mainly ministered in. It was also one of the 3 towns that he cursed. But there is a synagogue here. There's some interesting artifacts here. This is a really special place. It's one of the most preserved synagogues. We're going to be showing you it. And there's no doubt that Jesus preached right here in this synagogue. The Chorazin overlooks the Sea of Galilee. It's a beautiful view up here, nice stream that runs by here. The town was mainly built out of basalt rock, which is the natural lava rock from volcanoes and stuff in the area, so it had great building material. You'll have a great opportunity to see some of the kinds of buildings and homes that the people of Jesus' time would have used. So precious to be here. It's just amazing to think about all that happened here and the fact that Jesus was here, preached. Really, really special.
This is the reconstructed front of the synagogue that has been assembled here. Originally it was on top of the synagogue, but now it's placed here for all to see.
Well, here we are at this synagogue in Chorazin. It's one of the most well-preserved synagogues. You can see the mantle and stuff up there. Undoubtedly, there's no doubt that Jesus preached. Right here in this synagogue, it says he traveled throughout all of the Galilee area, preaching in all of their synagogues. So it's just really special to be here and just to think about Jesus being here and all that happened right here in Chorazin.
This here is the top of what was called a Torah cabinet. So this would house the scrolls in this synagogue here in Chorazin.
So this is where the Torah cabinet would be. This is a replica. The original is in the museum. The arch thing went up over the top of it. Well, welcome to the Holy Land and this biblical site of Capernaum. This was the hometown of Jesus. This is where he set up his ministry base. He came from Nazareth and came to live in Capernaum on the northern shore of the Sea of Galilee. This is a very special place because here we have the home of Peter. It's likely that Jesus lived with Peter. We have the synagogue that Jesus preached in. Many miracles happened here, so we're going to be doing a walking tour of this site to show you everything and tell you all about it.
In the church above Peter's home here is a glass window where you can look down directly over and into Peter's home. In this synagogue in Capernaum is where Jesus would have preached. Of course, this is a later synagogue built over the original synagogue built out of basalt.
Well, here we have something very amazing. We have this artifact, and it is a Roman road marker. So the Via Maris, which was an international highway, passed right by Capernaum. So we have this Roman marker, road marker, that marked the miles or the kilometers or the distances in between the cities. Unbelievable. So we have an amazing artifact here. This pillar on it has the name Alphaeus, which is mentioned in the Bible. So there's a direct connection right here. It says in Mark 2:13, as he passed by, he saw Levi, or Matthew, the son of Alphaeus, sitting in the tax office, and he said to him, "Follow me." And he got up and followed him. So right here we actually have the marker of and the name of a person is actually in the Bible. Well, welcome to the Holy Land and this newly discovered biblical site of Bethsaida. So I can't tell you how excited I am to be here. 2 years ago, my wife and I stumbled upon this site. We just wanted to take some air drone of the inlet of the Jordan River. So we just drove down here, found this spot, and we're doing our drones, walked down over there a ways. This was not even uncovered. So about a year or a little bit more ago, they decided to begin excavations here, believing that this was the true biblical site of Bethsaida. And so they are now convinced this is a brand new dig, and they will continue this on as they have time and resources. But this is the believed site of Bethsaida. Well, here we are at by the tell or by the area here of Bethsaida. We wanted you to show it's just a stone's throw away from where the archaeological dig is that's believed to be Bethsaida. And here's the Jordan River right here. So it would be a natural place for Peter and the disciples to bring the boats right here, and this fishing village of Bethsaida. They could come right in here, park their boats right here. Also, this is gorgeous fishing right here. The river is wide here. And in fact, what's amazing, we just came down here, but some families are here, some Jewish families are here, and guess what they're doing? You'll see here in a moment, they're fishing. So once again, Bethsaida was a fishing village, and the boats would come in here, could harbor up, then go out, in and out, and also they would fish along here really well. So this new Bethsaida location just really fits the biblical text so wonderfully, and like I say, you'll see here in a moment, but we got Jewish families that have come here to camp out, and we got some children here fishing, doing the same thing that Peter and Andrew and James did 2,000 years ago, so not a lot's changed. Well, welcome to the Holy Land and the site of Galilee. We're overlooking this mountain that's shaped like a camel. That's why it got its name. And here is where about 9,000 Jews lived in around 66 AD. They all gathered together to join in the rebellion against the Romans. They fortified the city, but the Romans sent 3 legions of soldiers, around 18,000 fighting warriors, and they were able to capture Gamla. They killed about 5,000 of the people that were here. Then the other 4,000, they jumped off the back of the cliff to their death. A similar story to what would happen about 4 or 5 years later at Masada. So rather than surrender, the remaining 4,000 then jumped over the cliff. Well, this is the believed beach that we believe is the best candidate when Jesus came over to feed the 5,000, right here in this area. So we believe that he came from Bethsaida. They came south a little bit. They were going to Bethsaida. They came south a little bit, and they were intended to relax, but the people followed them. And then most likely this is the area where he fed the 5,000. So we're right in this area here. So amazing things happened right here. Very likely that Jesus walked right here. So just really touching to be here, right on the Sea of Galilee. Calm, beautiful morning. So how precious. We got some people here that come to just fish and hang out and stuff. So really, really beautiful. Well, welcome to the Holy Land and this biblical site of Kursi. This is the place where the demonic men lived. This is the place where Christ came over and cast the demons out of this one demonic man, it mentions. And then he went back to his people and spread the gospel among them. So we have right here a church that was built to commemorate this site. Then we have up on the hill, we're going to be hiking up there, are the caves where these demonic men lived. Now Scripture says that these demonic men were so powerful and had this legion of demons within them that no one could bind them. So they kind of had control of this area. They would hurt people. And then Jesus came over here, sailed over from Capernaum, and he healed in Mark it singles out one particular case of this one demonic man, and Jesus heals him, and this legion of demon comes out of him. And then these demons plead with Jesus to let them go into this herd of pigs, and the herd of pigs then run down the mountain into the sea. And you can see all this right here. So we're going to show you the church here that was built to commemorate. We're going to hike up to these ruins up here, up to these caves, and you can see for yourself where this event took place. Here you can see from this view here where some of these ancient churches were built to commemorate this site where Jesus cast out this legion of demons from these demonic men. Then down below in this lower place is the main church that was built here to commemorate this place where Christ cast out these demons. Very, very well preserved Byzantine church built out of the local basalt rocks of the area.
The ruins of the ancient city of Hippos, horse in Greek, known today as Horvat Susita, are located about 1.2 miles or 2 kilometers east of the Sea of Galilee on the plateau of a diamond-shaped mountain that stands about 1,200 feet or 350 meters above the sea. The remains of at least 7 different churches built during the Byzantine period have been uncovered here. This confirms that by the 4th century AD, the majority of the residents in the city were probably Christian. Hippos continued to exist until the mid-8th century when the city was destroyed by a catastrophic earthquake. At the southern end of the Sea of Galilee is the outlet of the lake that now forms the Jordan River headed south. And here you can see the outlet that now goes through a man-made dam and then will form the Jordan River. Just below this outlet is a place called Yardenit. It is a famous place where many people get baptized today. It's not the place where Jesus got baptized by John. That's farther down across from Jericho, but this is a very special place.
Well, welcome to the Holy Land and this site of Yardenit. It's a baptismal site. Many people come here. We're just right below the outlet of the Sea of Galilee. The water is really fresh, it's beautiful, it's abundant. Many people come here to get baptized. Well, welcome to the Holy Land and this biblical site of ancient Tiberias. We are standing in front of the old ancient city gate. We are standing in front of a synagogue that was here. So this is ancient Tiberias. It was a Roman city. It's very likely, even though it was Roman, that Christ did have a ministry here and people from here did follow Christ. So amazing what all took place here. And we're going to show you everything about ancient Tiberias. So King Herod's son, Herod Antipas, constructed the city around 20 AD and named it Tiberias in honor of the Roman Emperor Caesar Tiberius. Tiberius replaced Sepphoris, or Sippori, as the capital of Galilee. He also established it as a Roman spa town with 17 hot springs in the vicinity. So people would come from all around to Tiberias for the hot springs. Now let's listen to a short narration about the synagogues at Tiberias.
More than 180 synagogues have been revealed by archaeological excavations, most of them from the time following the destruction of the Second Temple in Jerusalem. According to ancient Jewish writings, Tiberias alone had 13 synagogues, the Babylonian synagogue, the Tarsus synagogue, and others, reflecting the city's large variety of Jewish religious streams and groups. What makes the Hamat Tiberias synagogue unique is that it's not a single synagogue, but actually 4. From the 3rd until the 9th centuries CE, 4 synagogues were built on this site, one atop the ruins of the other. The first synagogue was built in about 230 CE, 160 years after the destruction of the temple, and was evidently destroyed by an earthquake that occurred in 306 CE. Some 70 years later, in about 300 CE, the second synagogue was built, a magnificent structure with a pulpit beyond which the Torah Ark was located. Its floor features a rich, colorful mosaic depicting the wheel of the zodiac, along with numerous Jewish symbols and inscriptions. This mosaic, which you are about to see, is considered one of the most magnificent ever discovered in Israel. The third synagogue was erected in about 420 CE on the ruins of the second synagogue. Its floor was covered by a mosaic featuring animal motifs, but only a small segment has survived. This synagogue was destroyed during the Persian conquest of the land of Israel. The fourth synagogue was built in the 8th century during the rule of the Muslim Umayyad Caliphate and fell out of use during the 9th century. In the synagogue itself, you can see the breathtaking original mosaic floor depicting life in the city of Tiberias in the days when the synagogue stood in all its glory.
Well, welcome to the Holy Land and this biblical site of Tiberias. We're here on a lovely summer evening. We're here on what's called the boardwalk or the waterfront or the promenade. It's a street, it's a real popular area, it's Old City. So we're here to show you this area here, show you the culture, show you the people. So we invite you to join us on this walking tour of Old City, Tiberias along the waterfront here. Beautiful, beautiful sight here.
The Sea of Galilee is an amazing place with astonishing and breathtaking events that happened around its shores. Matthew 4:23 through 25 sums it up best. And he went throughout Galilee, speaking about Jesus, teaching in their synagogues and proclaiming the gospel of the kingdom and healing every disease and every affliction among the people. So his fame spread throughout all Syria, and they brought him all the sick, those afflicted with various diseases and pains, those oppressed by demons, those having seizures and paralytics, and he healed them. And great crowds followed him from Galilee and the Decapolis, and from Jerusalem and Judea, and from beyond the Jordan.
Well, thank you for watching this video, and may God richly bless you.